So many people toil relentlessly their entire lives, only to die without ever truly experiencing abundance. They burn themselves out, give up, and leave empty-handed, despite following all the rules. Meanwhile, others seemingly stumble into success with minimal effort. But what if I told you it's not just hard work, luck, or intelligence? What if I said everything changes when you shift your mindset? Wealth isn't the ultimate goal. It's a reflection, a mirror of what you believe is possible. Do you truly believe your reality is dictated by external circumstances? That the blame lies with the economy, the government, your boss, or a challenging childhood? I believed that for years. And guess what it got me? Frustration, debt, and anxiety. The simple, blunt truth is your reality doesn't stem from the outside world, but from your mind. The world simply reflects back what you believe you deserve. I'm not saying this to be discouraging, but to awaken you. Because you might be living a life that was never truly yours. You might be repeating patterns, beliefs, and behaviors that aren't even your own, inherited from family, educators, media, culture. Things you've never questioned, just accepted and lived by, day after day. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, this is my fate? Rich, that's for people born with silver spoons. I'm just not good with money. These thoughts aren't harmless. They're instructions to your subconscious, and the subconscious doesn't question, it just obeys. You can wake up every day wanting a different life, but if deep down you believe you don't deserve it or can't achieve it, nothing will change. I was living proof. I dropped out of school in 8th grade, worked at gas stations, auto shops, factories. I had no aspirations, no direction. I believed that was my limit. And guess what? That's exactly what I experienced. But what revolutionized my life wasn't money, connections, or a miracle. It was a book, an idea, a new thought. Reading Think and Grow Rich, I realized I was trapped in a self-limiting narrative. I saw myself as a mere survivor, and that's all I could manage, surviving, scrabbling, living paycheck to paycheck. Ever felt that way? Ever finished the month wondering where the money went? Ever felt ashamed to check your bank account? Ever dreaded looking at your balance because it perfectly mirrored how you felt about yourself? This doesn't happen because you're stupid, lazy, or unlucky. It happens because your mind is still programmed for survival, not for thriving. Stanford University made a remarkable discovery. 95% of our decisions are made by the unconscious mind. Get that? You might be consciously striving with all your might, but if your unconscious is secretly sabotaging you, you lose. Every single time. And you don't even realize it. Even more intriguing. When you start to change your self-image, the whole world changes with you. Opportunities arise, the right people appear, doors that seemed slammed shut swing open, not because the world changed, but because you changed. I remember one day, still working as a firefighter in Toronto, after an exhausting shift. I was sitting alone, staring at the floor, thinking, is this it? This is my life? Work, pay bills, survive? And right there in that silent solitude, it hit me. I was responsible for my situation. If I could create a mediocre life with limited thoughts, imagine what I could create with expansive ones. That's what I want to show you. You don't need to be extraordinary to thrive. You need to learn to see yourself as someone who deserves it, someone capable, someone already on the path to wealth. Because what you see, you feel, and what you feel, you attract. Want a practical example? Take a piece of paper and write the phrase, I am a magnet for prosperity. Put it on your mirror, your fridge, anywhere, but look at it every day, and each time you look, feel it as if it's already true. Because your unconscious learns through repetition and emotion. Do this for 21 days, simple yet powerful. You'll notice you start making different decisions. You'll say no to things that pull you away from prosperity. You'll start seeing possibilities where you once only saw limitations. And all because you decided to start from within. Your first million isn't outside of you. It's hidden behind the image you have of yourself. Change the image, and the reflection in the mirror and in your bank account will never be the same. People say they want to be rich, but when you ask how much exactly, they hesitate, mumble, look away. That's because most have a vague desire, They want a better life, more comfort, financial security, but they don't know what that means in a clear, specific, felt way. And that's why nothing happens. The universe doesn't respond to confusion, but to clarity coupled with emotion. When I started changing my life, there was one fixed idea that consumed me. I wanted to earn $100,000. It wasn't an arbitrary number. I visualized it every day. I felt it as an undeniable truth. I saw myself signing checks, counting money, walking tall. And even without experience or training, I achieved it. And it wasn't magic, it was intention, an intense desire coupled with absolute clarity. What drives you today? Do you know exactly how much you want to earn this year? Do you know where you want to live, what you want to wear, who you want to be with, what you want to feel when you wake up? If you don't have these answers, you're trying to drive without a steering wheel or GPS, trying to reach a destination you don't even know. Napoleon Hill said it best. A weak desire brings weak results, just as a small fire produces little heat. You need to nurture that desire until it consumes you. It needs to be bigger than fear, bigger than doubt, bigger than the voice that says you won't succeed. People are afraid to desire greatly because they've been taught that desire is greed, that wanting money is wrong, that the right thing is to be humble and grateful for what you have. But that's not humility. It's conditioning. True gratitude doesn't paralyze, it expands. You can be grateful for what you have and still desire much more. That's evolution. I want to share something few people know. Every night before bed, I wrote down my goals in detail, one by one. And it wasn't just writing. I visualized, felt, believed. I mentally placed myself in that scenario. Science calls this mental rehearsal, and studies from the Cleveland Clinic have proven the brain doesn't differentiate between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. This means that when you practice visualization with emotional intensity, you're literally training your brain to attract that reality. Want a simple yet powerful exercise? Get a notebook and write, "I am so happy and grateful now that I earn X dollars per month doing what I love, in complete freedom and prosperity." Replace X with an exact amount. Feel it. Close your eyes and imagine what it would be like to open your bank account and see that amount. Imagine what you would buy, how you would live, how you would walk down the street. Do this every day. You'll see how your mind begins to change. And when the mind changes, the actions change. And when the actions change, the results appear. I've seen this happen with so many people throughout my journey. One of them was Jim Carrey. He wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered. He put a future date on it and carried that check in his wallet. Years later, he received exactly that amount for one of his films. Coincidence, or a mind that knew where it wanted to go? The problem is, most people don't believe this can work for them. They think, oh, that works for people who are already famous, already have money, already have luck. But I ask, what if they got there precisely because they started with that kind of clarity? What if you're delaying your success because you're still waiting for the world to prove something to you, instead of you proving to the world who you are? Don't fall into the trap of living by inertia, of accepting what comes your way, of going on autopilot, of repeating cycles just because that's what's available today. You can survive like that, but you'll never thrive. Your first million starts with a decision, but not just any decision. A decision fueled by burning desire, sustained by clarity, and propelled by faith. Desire without action is fantasy. Clarity without emotion is cold planning. Faith without purpose is empty religiosity. But when you combine desire, clarity, and faith, you become unstoppable. And the universe, however improbable it may seem, begins to reorganize itself to respond to that vibration. Because you don't receive what you want, you receive what you are. And when you become someone who knows what they want, feels what they want, and acts as if it's already real, reality has no choice. It has to obey. There's a silent, almost invisible belief that's been planted in you since childhood. The idea that to have more money, you need to work more, and more, and more. As if the only way to prosper is through physical exertion, exhaustion, the kind of fatigue that hurts your body, mind, and soul. But that's one of the biggest fallacies ever told, and I can prove it. Because the truth is, You don't earn money. You attract it. When I first understood this, it seemed absurd. I myself had scrubbed factory floors, changed tires, washed cars. I worked hard, but I remained broke. What I didn't realize was that money doesn't obey force, but frequency. Money goes to those who are in tune with it, with ideas, emotions, and decisions that create space for it to arrive. See, you can work all day, 7 days a week, but if you're vibrating with scarcity, anxiety, and doubt, your results will always be limited, because your vibration determines what you attract. This isn't mysticism, it's science. The HeartMath Institute in the United States has conducted research showing that your heart and brain emit electromagnetic fields capable of influencing not only your body, but also the environment around you. And these fields are directly affected by the emotions you feel. In other words, your emotional state creates your field of attraction. And it's this field that defines what enters or doesn't enter your life. I met a young man in one of my trainings who was in constant struggle. He worked 3 different shifts, didn't see his family, was constantly sick, and could barely pay rent. When I told him he might need to stop, yes, stop, to start thriving, he laughed. He thought it was crazy, but I asked him to do an experiment. For a week, instead of looking for more overtime, he would focus on raising his frequency, waking up earlier, meditating, visualizing the results he wanted, writing down his goals, acting with confidence even without seeing the results yet. And he did. 2 weeks later, he received a partnership proposal from a friend he hadn't spoken to in years, a project that, in less than 6 months, generated double what he earned from all those jobs combined. Why? Because he stopped vibrating like someone who needs to chase and started vibrating like someone who's ready to receive. That's the point. As long as you're acting with desperation, urgency, fear of lack, you're sending a clear message to the universe. I don't have. And all you'll attract is more of that. Lack, scarcity, urgency. But when you start acting like someone who is already prosperous, with serenity, presence, confidence, you're saying I have, and the universe responds. I experienced this personally when I was invited to speak at a conference outside of Canada. I had never been to the United States to speak in public. I had no contacts, no international reputation, and no suitable clothing for the occasion. But I was vibrating with confidence. I already saw myself there, and the right connections simply appeared. One opportunity led to another. People I had never met referred me, and everything happened as if it had been orchestrated. Not because I forced it, but because I allowed it. And that's exactly what you need to understand now. The more you try to control everything, the more you block the flow. Stop for a moment and think, have you ever felt that the more you try to earn money, the more it slips away? Have you noticed that when you're relaxed, confident, at peace, things flow easily? This is no coincidence. It's frequency. Harvard Medical School states that people with positive emotional states perform better on cognitive tasks, have greater mental clarity, and a greater ability to make sound decisions. In other words, it's not just that you attract more opportunities. You identify and take advantage of the ones that appear much better. Your brain literally works better when you're emotionally aligned. So here's a practical key. Before trying to earn more money, work to raise your frequency. Put on music that inspires you. Visualize your goal accomplished. Take a walk feeling gratitude for what hasn't even arrived yet. Nurture the feeling of, it's already mine, because that feeling is the magnet that brings it to you. And if you doubt this works, look around. How many people do you know who work hard all the time but remain in scarcity? And how many others, perhaps less hard-working, seem to have life flowing, with money arriving, opportunities emerging, and success increasing? The difference between them is not what they do, it's who they are while they do it. Because in the end, money doesn't go to those who struggle the most. It goes to those who vibrate correctly. There's something that's rarely said, but that's sabotaging millions of people every day. The fear of thriving. Yes, the fear of success. The fear of earning money. The fear of moving up in life. Seems contradictory, doesn't it? Most say they want to win, they want to be rich, but deep down in a quiet place in the subconscious, there's resistance, and it's more common and destructive than you imagine. This fear doesn't manifest as panic. It's subtle. It appears in the form of self-sabotage, procrastination, excuses, decisions that, however rational they may seem, keep you away from where you really want to be. How many times have you had a good idea but never put it into practice? How many opportunities have you turned down, claiming it wasn't the right time and you weren't ready or it wasn't for you? Do you know what's behind this? The silent belief that if you prosper, something bad might happen, that you might be rejected, envied, criticized, or even abandoned. This might have come from childhood. Perhaps you saw your parents struggling with money, associating wealth with arrogance or relating money to separation, fights, suffering. And then, without realizing it, you developed the idea that it's safer to stay where you are. It's safer to be average, invisible, acceptable in the eyes of others. And so even desiring a better life, you hit the brakes every time you start to accelerate. It's like trying to drive with your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. The car chokes, overheats, stalls. You feel this in your bones, don't you? That feeling of trying, but it always seems like something is holding you back, that something is preventing you from moving forward. That something is internal. And until you confront it, no plan, no strategy, no external effort will be enough. I clearly remember a time when I was invited to speak at an international conference alongside names I deeply admired. It was an honor, a milestone. But that week, I started feeling a strange unease. Insomnia, headaches, doubts about my content. I caught myself thinking, what if I'm not up to the task? What if they say I don't deserve to be here? See, I already had years of experience. I had changed lives. I had given bigger talks, but there I was, stuck, questioning my own worth. Why? Because that new opportunity was taking me to a level that subconsciously I hadn't yet allowed myself to reach. And that's the trap. Success will expose you. It will put you in bigger places, in front of more demanding people, under greater expectations. And if you don't feel worthy of it, you'll start sabotaging your own growth. You'll be late, forget commitments, make basic mistakes, invent excuses, all with one purpose: to return to the familiar zone of mediocrity. The zone where no one expects anything of you, where no one judges you, and where you never thrive. You might think this doesn't happen to you, but think, when you start getting better results, do you feel uncomfortable? When you receive compliments, do you tend to reject them? When you have extra money, do you feel like spending it all to enjoy life? These are all symptoms of the fear of thriving. Robin Williams is a tragic example of this, one of the greatest comedians of all time, multi-millionaire, loved by millions. But inside he carried such a deep emptiness that neither success nor money nor applause could fill. He didn't see himself as deserving, and this internal conflict ended up consuming everything most valuable he had, his own life. The pain of not feeling enough, even having everything the world considers success. This shows that true prosperity begins within. It's no use having money if you still carry inside you the guilt of having it, the shame of having it, the fear of losing it. If you want to break this cycle, you need to face this fear head on. You need to make peace with the idea that being prosperous doesn't make you worse than anyone else. That you won't disconnect from the people you love. You won't get lost, you won't become a sellout just because you can now travel, live better, or choose who you work with. Thriving isn't a betrayal of your values, it's a confirmation of them. And here's something practical. Start today writing down your fears. List everything that comes to mind when you think about being rich. Write without censorship. Then, look at that list and ask yourself, is this true? Or is it just a story that I've repeated so many times that it's become reality? You'll be surprised by the number of lies that have been guiding your life. And remember, you weren't made to hide from your own light. You were born to shine, and the world needs your light on. For a long time, we were taught that prosperity was a matter of quantity, that those who work more earn more, that those who wake up earlier, kill themselves studying, running, sacrificing everything, ultimately win. But the reality I've seen, in myself and in thousands of people around the world, proves that this isn't true. It's not about doing more. It's about doing better, consciously, with aligned intention. You don't need to burn yourself out. You need to act with direction, with clean energy, with your mind in the right place. I've seen people busy all the time, but stagnant, producing non-stop, but going in circles. Why? Because they weren't connected to what they were doing. There was no clarity, no purpose. The action was driven by fear. Fear of lack, fear of failure, fear of disappointing, anxiety, even if it momentarily propels, inevitably takes its toll. It exhausts, drains, and limits. I remember a student in my courses, a teacher, a single mother, who worked 3 jobs to support her children. Her routine was exhausting, and despite that, she lived in debt. When we met, she showed no interest in spiritual principles, vibrations, or visualizations. She wanted practical results, money in her account. I asked her to trust me for 30 days. She agreed. Unlocking your financial potential. From overwhelmed to abundant feeling stuck in a cycle of financial stress, you're not alone. Many people, burdened by limiting beliefs and overwhelming workloads, find themselves perpetually chasing the elusive feeling of financial freedom. They work tirelessly, yet the reward feels out of reach. This isn't about laziness, it's about misaligned energy. Imagine a woman juggling 3 jobs, barely making ends meet. She felt trapped, anxious, and completely drained. Then, she made a pivotal decision. She cut back, focusing only on her passion. Teaching art, she didn't just work less, she worked smarter. By incorporating visualization, positive affirmations, and intuitive decision-making, she radically shifted her mindset. Within 3 months, her income doubled. 6 months later, she was teaching online students internationally. A year on, she had weekends free and money in the bank for the first time ever. This wasn't luck, it was a conscious choice to thrive, not just survive. Harvard Business Review research validates this. Employees aligned with their values are up to 5 times more productive and experience significantly less stress. Are you constantly exhausted, ticking things off your to-do list but feeling utterly unfulfilled? That's a sign of misdirected energy, not a lack of effort. You don't need more tasks. You need more self-awareness, more authenticity in your choices. When your actions, thoughts, and feelings are in harmony, you enter a state of flow, a powerful state of effortless productivity. Ask yourself, are my current actions leading me toward my dream life or holding me back from the life I want to leave behind? This simple question can be life-changing. Your wealth isn't measured in hours worked, but in the quality of your intentions. Don't just do more, do better. Do it aligned with your true self. When you do, the universe will conspire in your favor. Consider this. Your financial mindset may be subtly shaped by your environment. From childhood, we absorb limiting beliefs about money. Money doesn't grow on trees. We can't afford that. Poor people stay poor. These phrases become deeply ingrained truths, setting an invisible financial ceiling. You may dream of wealth, but if you believe deep down that money is hard to earn, scarce, or somehow dirty, you'll subconsciously create obstacles to prevent it from coming your way. I've been there. When my cleaning business started thriving, I splurged recklessly, accumulating debt and losing focus. My internal programming was rooted in scarcity, despite the influx of cash. I didn't see myself as wealthy. I saw myself as temporarily lucky, until I realized the issue wasn't the money, it was my self-image. Are you sabotaging your own success? Do periods of abundance suddenly turn sour? Do you overspend when money flows in? Do you feel guilt or shame when you achieve success? That's not bad luck, it's self-sabotage, fueled by outdated beliefs. Break free from this cycle. Yale University research highlights how limiting environments foster short-term thinking, fear of investment, and constant insecurity, even when reality doesn't warrant it. You can escape poverty, but if your mindset remains trapped, poverty will stay with you, often disguised as affection. Loved ones unknowingly reinforce these beliefs, fearing your success more than wishing you failure. They might label you as arrogant or warn you that money will change you. Stand firm in your convictions. You need to create distance from conversations that diminish you, environments that keep you small, and habits that feed your old self. Prospering requires space, mental, emotional, and social. Surround yourself with expanding, not limiting influences. For 7 days, track every statement you hear about money. Identify limiting beliefs. Replace them. When someone says it's impossible, think it's merely difficult for now. When they say money doesn't buy happiness, respond with, but lack of it causes significant suffering. This rewiring takes courage, consistent effort, and conscious attention. Each time you reject a limiting belief, you move closer to freedom. You're not poor. You're temporarily disconnected from your true abundant self. Your wealth isn't out there, it's inside you. Shift your internal dialogue, your environment, and your script. Your reality will transform. University of Pennsylvania research confirms the brain adapts to repeated statements, true or false. Negative self-talk, I'm bad with money, I can't save anything, sabotages your efforts. I've experienced this toxic inner dialogue firsthand. I worked hard, but a nagging voice insisted I'd never truly prosper. This belief, unfortunately, became self-fulfilling. Negative thinking isn't insignificant. It's the invisible foundation of your life. Change your internal narrative. Create positive affirmations that resonate with you. I attract wealth daily. I deserve abundance. Money flows to me easily. Read them morning and night, feeling their truth. When I started, I woke up worried about debts. Shifting to positive self-talk completely changed my energy. I started seeing solutions where before I saw only problems. This isn't just positive thinking, it's neuroprogramming for success. Oprah and Tony Robbins emphasize the power of affirmations and positive self-talk. Neuroscience supports this. Modifying thoughts repeatedly rewires your brain, creating new patterns. But it's not just about mechanical repetition. Connect emotion to your affirmations. Visualize your abundance. Combine thought, emotion, and intention for a powerful, energetic field that attracts your desires. For the next 21 days, create your own financial affirmations. Write them down. Repeat them throughout the day, especially when fear or doubt arises. Watch how your internal dialogue and reality begin to shift. The wealth you desire starts within, in your self-talk. Treat yourself like someone deserving of wealth, and wealth will be drawn to you. Change your language. Change your life. This is the start. Join me in the next video as we delve deeper into turning obstacles into opportunities and accelerating your personal and financial growth. Until then,